wait.
Later in the bulletin, sports betting tax to shore up government revenue receives commendation. We will tell you more.
Betting is not anything good for your future. That is why it should be punitive to discourage the young men and women coming up.
In business news, Director General of Cybersecurity Authority urges players in the industry to obtain accreditation by end of September this year or face sanctions. We will bring you details.
On the international front, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu assures citizens current prices of petrol will remain the same as there is no plan to increase the prices of fuel at this time.
Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
And that's our cue as we enter the election command center. So with the New Patriotic Party's flag-bearer election inching closer, Kennedy Agyapong has emerged as a strong contender, captivating attention with his unwavering political stance and track record of electoral victories. Now, the seasoned Ascent Central MP's blend of vocal charisma, adept campaign fundraising and media presence has propelled him to the forefront of the race. However, as the NPP's internal battle intensifies, his past controversies and unfiltered style continue to pose both as a challenge and as an advantage to his pursuit of leadership.
In the lead-up to the eagerly anticipated New Patriotic Party flag-bearer elections later this year, Kennedy Agyapong has emerged as a noteworthy candidate, presenting a formidable challenge for the position. Agyapong's political journey is characterized by his fearless approach, outspoken nature, and an undefeated electoral history. Appearing on TV3's New Day program, Agyapong demonstrated a tempered demeanor, signaling a potential shift from his confrontational approach. Nevertheless, old habits, they say, die hard, and the seasoned politician's reputation for forthrightness remains integral to his identity.
I'm not rude, I'm confident. And here, in this country, Ghanaians misconstrue confidence to be arrogance. That is the challenge I have in this country. All what you are saying, everything that I've said have come to pass is the truth. And once I believe is the truth, nobody can threaten me because we are serving this country.
Agyapong, often compared to other vociferous political figures, who critics argue have failed to deliver substantial national improvement, vehemently defends himself against such comparisons. The aspiring presidential candidate asserts that he is not merely a talkative, but harbors concrete plans for the country's transformation.
What I've done in this country will tell you that I just don't talk. I'm completely different from anybody. None of the politicians in this country have created employment more than me. Both NDC, CPP, everybody. So if those who could not even create 500 jobs, you see them or you perceive them as capable of ruling this country, how much more an individual who has over 7,000 workers in this country?
Notably, Agyapong, a five-time member of parliament on the ticket of the NPP, has not hesitated to criticize his own government for the economic performance and their commitment to fight corruption. He says, for instance, that the ongoing Cecilia Dapaah controversy that involves large stash of cash at a home is bad for the government.
Whether you like it or not, it's going to affect MPP. When Victoria Hammer mentioned that if she makes $1 million, she's going to do A, B, C, D. Look at how Ghanaians chastised her. So the one who just said, if I get, and the one who has it. So it's a big problem. We cannot run away from it.
Assigning a rating of 6 out of 10 to the performance of the Akufo-Addo administration, he emphasizes the values of patriotism, honesty and discipline are cornerstones to reshape the nation's prospects.
I have sat down, carefully analyzed the situations and the challenges of this country. And I know that there are 3 key areas that if we use that, we can change the fortunes of this country. That is patriotism, honesty, and discipline.
The eventual outcome of this closely watched election promises to shape Ghana's political landscape in the years to come. Kennedy Agyapong will hope he is the one. Noble Crosbyan and TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, the chair of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament and MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Agyapong, has backed the sending of Ghanaian troops to Niger in case ECOWAS activate its military invasion. And Martin...
Yeah, certainly. And we will definitely be giving you updates of what's been happening in ECOWAS as they prepare to, go into Niger as a result of the coup that took place about a month ago. But before that, let's interrogate some of the comments made by Kennedy Agyapong in detail, and also what are his chances. Professor Smart Sarpong is a political scientist and also senior lecturer at the Kumasi Technical University Institute of Research. Prof, good evening. Thank you for your time. Professor Smart Sarpong, good evening. Can you hear me? All right, we seem to be having a slight challenge connecting to Professor Smart Sarpong. But Prof, if you can hear me, thank you for your time. We are looking at the chances of Kennedy Agyapong, the firebrand Kennedy Agyapong. We know that he's been crisscrossing the country campaigning. Today we spoke to him here at TV3, and amongst other things, he spoke about his confidence, which is very likely to give him the chance to lead the party. From where you sit, let's weigh his chances. Is he really that close to leading the New Patriotic Party?
Well, a very good evening to your good self, and good evening to our cherished viewers. I think he has a lot of strengths to his credit. You can say he is outspoken. For me, it is a strength. Others call it no nonsense. I don't want to call it no nonsense, but I think he is outspoken, and it is for me a strength. There are some people that their presence alone can instill some level of discipline, and for me, he presents himself as somebody like that. He is philanthropic. That for me is a strength, and you can count many mouths and many institutions that have benefited from Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. He is a grassroots man. You can't take that away from him. For me, that is also a strength. You know, sometimes politics is not all about big English or wearing of suits and those things, official activities. Sometimes you need to go down to the bush, to the muddies, and I think he presents himself as somebody like that. I think above all, maybe he's also a legislator, a very long-serving one. Next year, he'll be 24 years in Parliament. I think that's also a strength. But what for me does the deal is the fact that he has been a successful businessman in an environment like ours, when people largely do not care about the success of other person's businesses, attitude, lateness, indiscipline. So if you're able to establish businesses in a terrain like ours and sustain it, grow it, multiply it like he has done, I think he brings that on as a strength. And we hope that he can present himself that to the people so they can accept him.
Right. That's an interesting way of looking at Kennedy Agyapong. Are there any negatives or fallible aspects of him that could also be his undoing in the sight of the superdelegates, you think?
Obviously, we know he is quick-tempered, and with all due respect, this is a view others share about him. He may disagree, that is fair. He may call it something else that is fair. But I think just as he knows himself, he must be ready to accept what others do say about him. And I am saying, I've heard many, and I've also concluded that he needs to work on his temperament. He is quite a quick-tempered person. And then secondly, we need some level of diplomacy in leadership. And I think he needs to work on that also. He's not too diplomatic. As some, you know, there are some words that accounts will say, some that needs to be polished and be presented in a more diplomatic way. I think these two are things that he needs to work on. He has a lot of strengths, like I've mentioned, but who knows the quantum of harm these two weaknesses can cause his fortunes in the campaign.
Okay. He's still third on your poll, right? He's still number 3 on the pecking order as it stands now, right?
Yes, he is still number 3.
Okay. All right. Certainly, August 26 is right around the corner. Thank you very much, Professor Smart Sarpong, for your time as always. And here at your Elections Command Center, we'll be keeping tabs on all the development activities within the NPP and keep you posted as well.
Meanwhile, Kennedy Agyapong, who is also chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament and MP for Asin Central, has backed the sending of Ghanaian troops to Niger in case the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, activates military invasion. The West African sub-regional body has asked member states to form a standby force as an option to resolving the crisis in Niger. He spoke on TV3 New Day.
Military chiefs from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are expected to meet in Accra on Thursday, August 17, to finalize preparations for potential military intervention to restore the ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. A cross-section of Ghanaians, including security experts, are not in favor of Ghana committing troops to Niger. But Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Kennedy Agyapong, has backed the sending of Ghanaian troops to Niger in case ECOWAS activates the military intervention.
We have obligation as ECOWAS members, and you cannot run away from it. Yesterday, I posed the question and answered it myself. Why is it that Burkina, Guinea, and Mali, we didn't go there, and now we are going to Niger? Okay. Again, I gave a solution to it that this should serve as a deterrent because it's becoming rampant. Coup d'etat is becoming rampant in ECOWAS. So we should use Niger to serve as a deterrent that anybody who tries again, ECOWAS will come after him.
A lecturer in international law at GIMPA, Dr. Kweku Anani Jinde, says because Ghana is a dualist state, it needs to domesticate any international agreement, adding Parliament must approve any troops deployment to Niger.
I don't think there's an appetite, even among member states of ECOWAS, for military intervention. Mali has indicated its intention not to be part. Burkina Faso said it is not going to be part. And apart from that, looking at the situation in which we find ourselves now, across board, I don't think there's any appetite for military intervention. If anything at all, they should continue along the path of diplomacy. You don't put all your cards on the table. You create an ambiguous situation to keep the other person guessing.
He insisted that the UN Security Council will have to give a final approval to any decision to use force against the territorial integrity of another state.
Talking about sovereignty, during the Cold War, there was this emphasis on the sovereignty of nations, so there should not be interference. But with time, international law has changed. And now the position is that there can be interventions, but based on certain conditions. That is, to avert a humanitarian crisis in that country, you can intervene. And to protect the citizens against its own government, you can intervene. And also to go there at the invitation and with the consent of the affected state, you can intervene. Or if your national security is threatened by conditions or the activities in that country. By all this, you require the approval of the UN Security Council under Chapter 7.
ECOWAS wants President Mohamed Bazoum released from house arrest and reinstated as the constitutionally elected head of state.
Meanwhile, ECOWAS is reporting of an attack by some armed groups in the Republic of Niger, which has led to the death of several Nigerian soldiers. In a statement from the regional bloc, it condemned the attacks and conveyed their condolence to the families of the bereaved. It used the opportunity to reiterate its position that the leadership of the military in Niger restore constitutional order and focus on the security of the country, which has become increasingly fragile since the coup last month, which deposed Mohamed Bazoum.
And we have been speaking with a Nigerian who says they do not back ECOWAS in its bid to return their country to democratic rule. He says they were disappointed in the leadership style and management of the economy by ousted President Mohamed Bazoum.
What I think is that ECOWAS is equal to France. ECOWAS is not there for the Niger people to face them. I can tell you 99% of the population are happy. Because you see, imagine the soldiers, they will catch the terrorists and you release them. He released terrorists one time and keep terrorists. And then now he wanted to release the second. And meanwhile, villages are moving away. The terrorists, they have been killing people, innocent people. And then the French army is, the Westerners, they are here. But they cannot do anything because they are here for their interests. Even Macron said it. The soldiers better. Even now, even the money out. France, they don't know light out.
Right, so let's just take you a step back to how all of this started, this coup in Niger, and it looks as though it is not going to go away anytime soon. So it actually started on the 26th of July, where Niger's presidential palace was sealed off by the presidential guard of Mohamed Bazoum. 2 days after that, a new head of state was announced. That was the leader of the coup. On the 30th of July, ECOWAS gave Niger 1 week, that's the leadership of the coup makers, 1 week deadline to reinstate Mohamed Bazoum, the democratically elected president. On the 31st of July, Burkina Faso and Mali joined forces with Niger, promising to send troops if they come under attack. On the 1st of August, Niger excluded ECOWAS members from their border reopening. A day after that, Russia also then gave its position against ECOWAS's decision to send its standby group of soldiers into Niger for an intervention. It looks as after the deadline, nothing has happened. Abdul Salami, who is the former leader of Nigeria, led an ECOWAS delegation that were received in Niger. They were able to meet the coup leaders, but he came back with a message to ECOWAS. Nigeria actually cut off electricity to Niger that same day, the 2nd of August. And on the 3rd of August, foreign countries began evacuating their citizens. And as we've been saying, tomorrow, Thursday, the 17th of August, the Chiefs of Defense Staff are meeting in Ghana, and I will be giving you details of that subsequently.
Away from Niger, let's go to the eastern region, where a 17-year-old Washing Bay attendant, Samuel Boateng, has died after allegedly being assaulted by 2 police officers in the Birim North District of the eastern region. Family members of the deceased are demanding justice for the police to release the body of the teenager to them. A report by Yvonne Nikwi.
According to family members, the officers drove their car to the Washing Bay, where Samuel Kwesi Boateng worked, for their car to be washed, but he declined, giving reason that the police never paid for such services. While the deceased was working on another vehicle, water splashed on the officers, so he apologized and the officers left. However, it was alleged that a colleague called the officers and told them Kwesi had insulted them. The officers returned and allegedly assaulted him. He was hospitalized at the newer Birim Government Hospital before his demise. The Eastern Regional Police Command is reported to have transferred the body from the private mortuary at Afosu for autopsy in Accra. Family members of the deceased are demanding justice and the release of the body to them.
The whole Ghana, IGP, Naswati said, Sa enimidiano, ana sa kwano na yefasu bu or minor.
I want the IGP and authorities to explain if that is how the law works in Ghana.
The police came for my brother's body, and we don't know where they have taken the body to.
Let's shift our attention to education stories now. The National Labour Commission has directed government to implement the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana's agreed conditions of service. The commission further ordered government to issue letters to principals of the 46 public colleges of education indicating payment terms. Our Labour correspondent Daniel Opoku was at that crucial meeting and reports.
Government flouted an earlier directive to the National Labour Commission ruling to pay 7 months arrears to members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, as well as pay 15 leave days and credit 1 month additional duty allowance into their accounts. The Commission has once again directed the representatives of government to issue letters indicating terms of payment to the principals of the Colleges of Education before asking CTAG to call off its strike.
Finance has given release, controller is worked on it. It's going to be part of their salary this month. But there were other outstanding issues which the Commission had given directive which has not been complied with. And that is what the Commission has stated, that it is not happy with the conduct of the complainant. It has given them up to the close of today to issue the letters to the colleges of the principals and of the colleges to implement same and all others. The Commission must have a letter stating the status of implementation. They have been directed to call off the strike upon receipt of the letter.
But CTAG says it will not call off a strike until they receive a firm commitment from government.
We want to see evidence. If you are telling me what I'm owing you, I'm going to pay it in August. I want evidence to show that, yes, when August salary drops, I will see that payment. And if you are in a way saying that maybe this one will be delayed, let me see what you are saying, and I'll see if I can agree or not. So when we get all these documents, then we also can go back to our constituents. The Commission is asking us to stay our strike for now.
Still on education, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, is set to introduce a QR code system to ensure only approved books are sold on the market. Director General Professor Edward Appiah, who made this known during an inspection of selected schools in Accra, hinted of plans to ban sole authorship of books in order to bring sanity into the system.
Non-approved textbooks continue to flood the markets. In the past few years, the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, NACA, has received the flask for poor monitoring, leading to the influx of unapproved books. The latest controversy was the History 4 textbook, in which an author wrote, "Christianity has led to an increase in poverty in Ghana," and also stating that religion is a major cause of physical and doctrinal disputes in Ghana. NACA admits that not all books in the market are approved. Officials visited some selected private and public schools to ensure compliance. Director General of NACA warned the schools to purchase only approved books.
You hear NACA's name and it's about whether the books are approved or bad books are in the system. So we have taken it upon ourselves to visit the schools, monitor and do sensitization, because we realize sometimes the schools don't even know the difference between approved books and unapproved books.
He also spoke about new measures to bring sanity into the system, including a ban on sole authorship.
We are coming up with QR codes, which will be on all approved books, so that anybody who buys, you can just scan and then you'll be able to know the book, whether it's approved, the details, the day it was approved, the quantity in the circulation. One of the things that we are even trying to do is to avoid sole authorship. We think that for the textbooks to be enriched, you need to have more than 2 or 3 authors.
Some school heads were, however, worried that government is yet to provide some of the textbooks.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. We'll be right back with many more, including the fact that sports betting tax is receiving some commendation in spite of huge backlash against government's decision. Details of that and many more right after this. Stay with us.
We're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Choose Sukasa for the highest quality, luxurious townhouses in East Lagoon Hills. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom in a gated community starting at $40,000 in Accra, Ghana. Sukasa, building on trust.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
There are some moments that last forever because they happen only once. Like your very first day, your first day of school, your first successful bike ride. What's your child's next milestone? Auntie Mary's Gripe Mixture is here to ensure they smile through it all. Auntie Mary's Gripe Mixture has been keeping children smiling for more than a decade by relieving them from gastric pain, flatulence, minor digestive upset, and teething discomfort. Now, Auntie Mary's Gripe Mixture. Auntie Mary's Gripe Mixture is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Who no like chop money? They want chop money is here! Collect your chop money every morning at 10 a.m. by simply dialing *446# and select option 2 to play Day 1 539 chop money. Win 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3, and 20 times your stake with Direct 1. You can also pay your numbers to win big. You only pick your numbers from 1 to 39, so winning is easy. Dial *446# to play Day 1 539 chop money now. Day 1, have fun!
The business segment is brought to you by MTN, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
It's now time for the latest in the world of business news, and your business is his business. But Marcus, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I wish people knew the off-air conversation we're having just before this time. You know, it sent us many years back into memory. Yes, hello, good evening, and welcome to the very latest in the world of business. Now, all cybersecurity service providers and professionals in the country are expected to register for license and accreditation from the Cybersecurity Authority by September 30 this year. Failure to do so, according to the authority, will result in the imposition of administrative penalties and possible prosecution. The following report has more.
The licensing and accreditation, according to the Cybersecurity Authority, seeks to ensure cybersecurity service providers, cybersecurity establishments, and cybersecurity professionals throughout the country carry out cybersecurity-related activities in accordance with approved international best practices. Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Ntwibo-Isiako, noted that the licensing regime is expected to provide and enhance greater assurance of cybersecurity and safety to consumers and addressing national security concerns.
By the advice we received from our legal in-houses, by the end of September, that is starting 1st of October, any entity that offers cybersecurity services in Ghana without the license, at least either a provisional license to start with, that will be a breach of the law. And that is where we are seeking collaboration with the PPA to enforce.
For his part, Chief Executive of the Public Procurement Authority, Frank Mante, said the collaboration with the Cybersecurity Authority seeks to ensure full compliance of procurement processes with cybersecurity requirements.
Please, this is to the procurement entities. Please ensure that when we are procuring, the tenderers who are invited through a competitive process demonstrate that they've obtained this clearance. And for those applications that will be submitted to PPA through single source or restricted tenders, when you submit these applications to X without seeing this certification, we'll write back to you.
Let's talk about inflation now, and producer price inflation has increased to 32.7% for July 2023 from the 29.2% recorded in June. The 3.5 percentage point increase relative to June's PPI is reflected in the latest data provided by the Ghana Statistical Service.
The Producer Price Index measures the average change over time in the prices received by domestic producers to produce their goods and services. Month on month, the change in the producer price inflation between June and July 2023 was 0.8%. For investors, producer price inflation is an indicator to predict consumer price inflation and extremely useful in analyzing potential sales and earnings.
In other news tonight, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana says government must scrap all taxes on agric inputs to address the worrying levels of food inflation in the country. My colleague Michael Obodu has the rest of the story.
Inflation in June this year stood at a worrying 42.5%. However, this was heavily driven by food inflation, which stood at a staggering 54.2%. The situation deteriorated further the following month, with food inflation standing at 55%. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has stressed the need to review the tax regime on the agricultural sector to improve the situation.
Duties that agro importers used to enjoy have been taken off. So because of the input prices has more than doubled, which also reflected on cost of production. Once there is increase in cost of production, few farmers will be able to produce. Those who are producing at a higher cost. So you have majority of farmers who have not been able to produce to their potentials because of the inputs. So if those taxes are withdrawn, I'm sure input prices will come down. Farmers will be able to produce and sell to the market at a reduced cost, thereby reducing our food price inflation.
Before we go, the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, ACET, says the lack of coordination among institutions and agencies within member countries of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is a major hindrance to intra-regional trade on the continent. According to ACET, intra-regional trade among African countries is less than 18%, with Ghana exporting over 50% of its commodities outside Africa.
At a roundtable discussion to explore opportunities for domesticating the AfTA protocol to drive trade and investment in Africa, ACET urged that as AfTA protocols and frameworks are being negotiated and developed at a regional level, countries must incorporate them into their national laws to be able to effectively participate in the agreement. Principal researcher Louise Yao Afo emphasized the need for different institutions, agencies and departments within AfTA member countries to coordinate to maximize the full potential of AfTA protocols.
Issues with immigrational laws, which is very key for labor movement. We also realize that We don't have the One African Passport project running because most countries have not ratified. We also realize that there is a need for employment institutions to align with academia, also to align with national policies. There's also the need for interministerial work among member states.
Meanwhile, Director of Research, Policy and Programs at ACET, Dr. Edward K. Brown, has this to say.
Is that intra-African trade is perhaps the lowest of any bloc trade globally. Around, is it 15% of trade is between African countries, and the majority of the rest goes outside. But one key point that is evident, and I think this is data coming out from East Africa, which shows that intra-African trade is mainly related to value-added products, processed products. What does that mean? It means that countries that are trading among them.
Well, that's it for the very latest in the world of business. For more business news stories, do also visit our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asari. Portia, what do you have next?
Yes, something on betting, and government has received a huge backlash for implementing the sports betting tax. But for flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party, Kennedy Agyapong, government should have allocated more than 10% of earnings, describing betting as a baseless venture for the youth. Judith Awatritando reports.
Man has been busy this week, taken as they have in the last few years from every available revenue source. So this week, a number of new taxes kicked in. But out of these, two in particular stood out. The gaming tax, which seeks to deduct 10% from winnings on lotteries and bets, and the excise duty, which imposes a 20% tax on sweetened beverages. Well, there are no prices for guessing which one has caused the most furor.
What I like, I can chop maybe 100 cedi. What you can't say 110 cedi for topper. What you want to show me? That one, me I not go like. Sake of that, me I go show the stake bets.
But is a new tax that bad? And is there a silver lining?
The future of Ghana is bleak.
So, the agitation goes on, and the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress has become the latest body to demand its withdrawal. They claim that through agitations, protests, advocacy, and civic engagements, they will get the tax abandoned. They also claim that they will picket, occupy Parliament, and start unconventional lawful agitations. Judith Chutando, TV3 News.
Coming up as the latest in the world of sports news with Thierry Nyan.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family because every smile matters. New Pepsodent Herbal. Introducing a unique combination of herbal extracts in an antibacterial toothpaste for strong teeth and healthy gums that protects your family and you. Every smile matters.
Every child is so unique. You like no other. Outstanding in every way. It's me like no other. So anytime you walk and play, you like no other. You are special like Indomie. It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you.
Sports segment is brought to you by Bell Pack Tissues.
Time now for sports on News 360. Thierry Nyan is with us. Hello, Thierry.
Broad smile. Hi, Martin. Hi, Portia. It's time for us to bring you the latest in the world of sports. And we're starting with athletics, where Team Ghana have arrived in Budapest, Hungary, ahead of the 19th edition of the World Athletics Championships. 5 athletes are expected to represent Ghana at the Games after Safo Ansah and Rose Iabua were denied visas by the Hungarian embassy in Accra. The team spent the past week and a half in Paris, fine-tuning preparations ahead of the championships. The 4x100 meters men's relay team includes Isaac Botio, Raymond French, Edwin Gadayi, and Joseph Paul Amwa, who will also compete in the 200 meters. Deborah Aqua will also take part in the women's long jump. Ghana having won a medal at the World Athletics Championships in 18 years. Hopefully, this will be their time. But away from athletics, let's do some football. And Manchester United say they have still not made a decision on the future of Mason Greenwood. Here is a report summarizing details. You should also know this is a statement that was released by the club. And I quote, "The fact-finding phase of our investigation is now complete, and we are in the final stages of making a decision on Mason's future." Contrary to media speculation, that decision has not yet been made and is currently the subject of intensive internal deliberation. Responsibility ultimately rests with the chief executive officer. And it's still Man United speaking on Greenwood's issue. They continue to say that once made, the decision will be communicated and explained to the club's internal and external stakeholders. So, of course, when there are any more updates, we'll bring you right here on TV3. Now, England beats co-host Australia to book a ticket in the final of the 2023 Women's World Cup. This report by 3 Sports' Frankie Champon captures what the win means for the 3 Lionesses.
Puts England into the World Cup final.
The Lionesses of England have reached the Women's World Cup final for the first time in their history. In a vibrant stadium, Australia, the Lionesses became the first on the world stage. This win shows the progress in 2 years under manager Sarina Wiegman. Wiegman led England to European glory for the first time last year on home soil and is bound to deliver the trophy they've longed so much for. This will be a second successive World Cup final for Wiegman after guiding the Netherlands to
will wear the legendary number 25 jersey. It is the first time a player is taking up that number since Gianfranco Zola departed Stamford Bridge 20 years ago.
I'm so proud to wear this number. I spoke with Gianfranco Zola. He gave me his blessing. I know how much it means, this number. I chose this number because it means a lot for me and my family. I want to create a lot of memory with this number on my back.
And that'll be all for the sports here. But before I get out to the studio, is Manchester City against Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup. And it's Sevilla who are leading at this moment by a 1-0 in the first half. We'll bring you more updates subsequently. My name is Thea Winyan, and I'll see you some other time.
Jamal washing powder with multi-enzymes that helps remove stubborn stains.
It has a nice fragrance. Not harsh on my hands. Foams easily. And removes stains well.
Oh, I still to be.
Ma, you brought 5 big sachets of new Jamal washing powder.
Yes, ma.
It really removes stains. It has a nice fragrance.
Yes, ma.
Then add 30 sacks of Jamal washing powder to your engagement list.
Hey,
Jamal. Yes, ma.
New Jamal washing powder for cleaner, fresher wash. Your partner for clean clothes. This advert is FDA.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's a harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water. One for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA.
My networks are use no. I'm praying and I'm recharge ya. Munyam faso everyone so. Mabwa, kapre. Wait. And that's what you madi. Muntian kabo di through. Vodafone say every Saturday a brevia over recharge from 5 cities Elko Biano. Assigned with seeking up to 20% amount back cash. Our Vodafone cash so. It shock you? What did you hear say? Over recharge. Say my Vodafone app. Vodafone cash, credit transfer, short code, MOBIA, Uradia,
Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana Cedi or more in Vodafone's double promotion and receive up to 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone double promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
They came, they saw, and are set to conquer. Ghana's Strongest 2023 is at an end, and 4 men will compete for the title in the grand finale. Who wins this year's Ghana's Strongest? Will it be Godfred Akobila with 7 appearances, Bright Appiah, the SWAT man, Takrada's finest, Ebenezer Amos, or the new man, Jeffrey Ekufu? Don't miss this epic finale live on TV3 at the Obra Sports on Sunday, 20th August at 2 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
This water pouring on you from the rooftop signifies that in this life rain shall fall on you, but nothing shall happen to you.
It's a week of fashion and glam on Ghana's Most Beautiful. This week, our beautiful contestants will grace the runway, showcasing exquisite outfits crafted by talented designers and featuring the latest collections from GTP. Get ready to be dazzled as they bring elegance, charm, and a touch of Ghanaian culture to the fashion world. It's a night of style, sophistication, and celebration, where fashion meets tradition in a breathtaking display of creativity and beauty. Exclusively Victory on TV3 at 8 p.m. this Sunday. It's an eviction week and not less than 2 contestants will be evicted. To save your contestant from eviction, vote by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app to vote. GMB 2023, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescafe Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubna Womwankasa, Drugs, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
No matter where,
the capital is always tuned in their offices.
You have been to AFC before, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. In their retail centers.
Even in their busy marketplaces.
Oh, should be that some kind of like what? And in their cars.
Even in their homes and in their rooms, they listen. The capital is always tuned in.
Yes, we run the city. Hill 3 FM 92.7.
Your Urban Lifestyle Radio.
Join Giovanni and AJ Sapon on 3FM Drive 92.7 Monday to Friday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. We run the city on 3FM 92.7, your Urban Lifestyle Radio station.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water, GTP, Lifestyled, Vodafone, Further Together, and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Time now for entertainment on News 360, and Anita is with us. What are we expecting?
So the Ministry of Tourism says they need the help of the media, especially when
we've been helping them since God knows how many
Well,
years.
we have been helping them, but they need more help.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. My name is Anita Ekia Ekufu, and the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is seeking the media support for its Destination Ghana project, which seeks to attract 4 million domestic and international tourists over the next 4 years. And to achieve this, the ministry plans to modernize existing tourist sites and establish more attractions such as museums and national parks.
The tourism sector is said to be the 3rd largest contributor to Ghana's GDP. In 2022, Ghana generated over $2.5 billion from international arrivals alone, according to the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ibrahim Awal Mohammed. Each international tourist stays in Ghana for at least 7 days and spends about $3,000 on average. Hitting the target of 2 million international arrivals over the 4-year period, Ghana will rake in $6 billion, with the sector being one of the largest foreign revenue earners for the country. The minister believes developing more attractions and improving existing ones will prolong the stay of tourists.
Our biggest tourists come from America. Last year, 30% of all tourists came from the US. I mean, they like what they call heritage tourism. So when we do Osu Castle, we do Du Bois, we do Kwame Nkrumah, it attracts a lot of tourists from the United States. And they spend a lot of money too in Ghana.
However, after establishing more tourist sites, there is a need for a maintenance strategy to ensure its sustainability. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority says there is an allocated amount in the revenue generated for the maintenance of tourist sites.
With the law that we have, says that we have to have some percentage of the funds that come in dedicated to maintenance. So that's we've put in the law. So the management board, that is the Tourism Authority, the Traditional Council and the Assembly, will share the revenues and then leave a certain portion for administration and maintenance.
Ghana has diverse tourist sites across the country, such as the Cape Coast Castle and the renovated Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
And still in entertainment, a new report states that despite his denials, movie producer Alec Baldwin had to pull the trigger of the gun that fired on the set of Rust in 2021. The shooting led to the death of Helena Hutchins after a year-long legal battle has ensued as investigators work to find justice for the cinematographer. Special prosecutors dismissed the involuntary manslaughter charges against Baldwin in April, but noted that they would refile. And new charges against Baldwin are being considered, but a final decision is yet to be made. And that'll be all for the entertainment news segment. Up next is international news. Have a good evening.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has assured the citizens that the current price of petrol will remain the same, as there is no plan to increase the prices of fuel at this time. This follows the warning by some oil marketers that the price of petrol would rise again for the third time since the president resumes office late May. They said this is due to Nigeria's foreign exchange crisis. But the president's spokesperson said the president and the industry stakeholders are convinced that they can maintain current prices without reversing deregulation policy. At least 17 soldiers have been killed in an Islamist militant attack and another 20 wounded in Niger. The ambush happened in the Tillabéri region, close to the border with Burkina Faso. The military said more than 100 attackers were killed as they escaped the scene. The government statement said the prompt reaction of the military and the air-land response initiated at the scene of the clash made it possible to deal with the enemy.
And just before we go, remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning with either the Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, the Pepsodent Charcoal, the Pepsodent Herbal or Pepsodent Triple Protection, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Martin Asiedu Datu.
I am Portia Gabo. Good evening.